Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here, side super moderator for Avatar The Last Airbender Online.com and also main host of the Avatar Online podcast here with another Korra news update video. So, not yesterday but the day before, I recorded a video about my expectations for Nickelodeon Upfront, which happened yesterday. This one's, I suppose, going to be a reaction to after that, and there's a piece of news to actually cover. So, as I'm sure you probably all know, we got no Korra news from Nickelodeon up front. But not just that we got no news, we got absolutely no mention of Korra whatsoever, which was actually like a surprise because as much as like we just hoped and expected something like a trailer or a release date, but it was still kind of a long shot to actually for that to actually happen. But for them to just not mention it, because let's not forget that Nickelodeon Upfront is primarily a kind of preview for Nickelodeon about what's upcoming in the next TV season, 2014-2015. What shows they're going to be showing during this time. So obviously they announced their new shows that are in production and show stuff for that. That happened with Korra Book 1. But they do also, at least in press releases, mention what sort of stuff is going to be coming, like that's already out, like what shows are already coming. And so we, at the very least, expected Korra to be mentioned in, animated shows returning for the 2014-2015 season. And they didn't mention it. Turtles got mentioned, I think SpongeBob got mentioned, and whatever other animated shows Nickelodeon have. But no Korra, so Korra got zero mention at Nickelodeon Upfront, which was a shock and honestly makes no sense because it seems to be super far into production. Like, we know that half of the season's animated, potentially really close to 100% like done, given that they seem to be primarily focused on book 4 in terms of production. So I'm not really sure why it wasn't mentioned. The one I suppose kind of hopeful thing would be that maybe it's actually going to air in the next month or two, and possibly the next month or two are not considered the 2014-2015 season, but still part of the 2013-14 season, because it is still the first half of the year. I assume the 2014-15 TV season is like July to like June next year or something like that. So it could potentially be that, but either way, no mention of it is really annoying, and a lot of people were very annoyed, including myself. I tweeted a lot about it. It made kind of little sense that to preview your next season of TV shows, you wouldn't mention one of your more popular things, and even the excuse that they don't mention stuff that's already out or it's popular. They mentioned the new SpongeBob movie, and like, if there's anything on Nickelodeon that doesn't need advertising, it's SpongeBob. So, that's a kind of weak excuse. But yeah, nothing from Nickelodeon up front. Is there anything else I want to add about it? I suppose just when I think we'll actually get Korra news, then, since we didn't get it here. Um, the obvious next kind of event where they would announce any of this stuff, because I'm assuming that when they put out a trailer or release date, it will be because of some event. The book 1 trailer came out, I think, at Nickelodeon Upfront, like 2011 or 12. The book 2 trailer came out at San Diego Comic Con 2013. So the next big event would be San Diego Comic Con 2014, this year's Comic Con. But that seems extremely late to be putting out a trailer, because I think everyone who's been keeping up with all the updates assumes that the show is going to air within the next, 2-3 months, that it's for sure going to air before Comic Con. It's not confirmed, but that seems to be what makes sense. Let's not forget that Brian said that the wait for book 3 would be much less than the wait for book 2. Now, keep in mind that the wait for book 2 was 15 months, and obviously we've been waiting since we've been waiting since November for this, so really we've only been waiting a couple of months. So I'm not really sure, but production seems to be in an odd place right now. But at the very least, I would assume it has to be for Comic Con, or just before September, I think, because a year would be back on schedule. Like 9 months, I think, is the usual kind of expected schedule for these sort of things. A show that's in production, airing on time, that you get it roughly every 9, 10 months or something like that, and it would make sense that it would come out in or around Comic Con time before that, because it obviously promotes the whole thing of what do they cover at Comic Con if the show airs before then, because we'll have met the new characters before they've given us the concept art, which we usually get. And I assume they'll do something like New York Comic Con did last year, where they focused on an upcoming arc, like the Wan Beginnings episodes they focused on in that panel, and stuff like that. Um, so I'm not really sure, but I'd assume that's probably what they'd have to do at Comic Con, and like give us like a second half of the season trailer or something like that. So it still begs the question: if not Comic Con, then when? And there's one thing that's still out there that hasn't been touched upon in a while, and that is Coronation. That's obviously the big kind of news source for core news. They have had up on their website since December the end of Phase 1 of Book 2 Coronation, of the new kind of restart of Coronation. They've had up Book 3 Change coming soon, new phase coming soon. And this is like 4 or 5 months on from that. And we still don't have it. So their definition of soon is really long time. But for me, the way I think about it is, what better way to relaunch Coronation than to give us a Book 3 trailer, Book 3 release date, concept art of new characters, stuff like that. There's a lot of content they can put out now because we know so little about Book 3. So I think Coronation would be the next kind of thing to probably like get your hopes up about, like, and hope that it comes back soon, because it's, for me, that's the only thing that makes sense to like actually put out new news, because I really just don't see them randomly airing the Book 3 trailer on some random day on Nickelodeon and people find out about it from that. Um, I think the Kids' Choice Awards are coming up, or I don't know if they've already happened. That's a potential, but I don't think so. Other than that, unless they do that some random convention, I don't really think that's going to happen. So Coronation for me is what I'm kind of putting a lot of my hope into. We know for sure it's going to start again, phase 2, prizes and points, stuff like that. That's what I'm putting my hopes in now. But let's get away from Nickelodeon up front and talk about the actual piece of news we got. As if Brian knew that the fandom was very annoyed at no news from Nickelodeon up front, he posted a new screenshot from Book 3. You can see it here. It's obviously of Lin Bei Fong, apparently in some sort of a fight scene of some manner. He didn't mention Nickelodeon up front specifically or any disappointment. He just posted this, but I assume it was in some way response to that, hopefully. But yeah, new image of Lin. It's fine. It's an image of Lin. There's no way you can really talk about what's going on in the scene. And this also again pointed out for me the fact that we have not seen a single image of a new character, apart from maybe some things from the Netherlands Book 3 trailer, which I suppose for Nickelodeon US, which is the I suppose true source of information, they haven't referenced that trailer. So nothing, I suppose, officially about the new characters has really come out, and we haven't seen any of these screenshots of them either. When if you look back at Book 2, I think we had screenshots of Eska Desna. I think we got one of like Tonrock. I don't know if we saw Unlock. I don't think. I think we saw Varric at some point very late on, just before it aired. But we were seeing new characters. They weren't hiding them because they announced them very early on. This time round, we know so little about Book 3 that it's really hard to kind of preview the book in general. But yeah, that's been this news update. we'll talk about the whole disappointment at Nickelodeon Upfront more on the podcast on Sunday, Avatar Online Podcast, episode 83. We'll also be answering listener questions, and our big discussion topic is going to be our random Korra episode review of K107 The Aftermath. So back to regular shows after our Rift special, but thanks for watching this video, and bye.